Nikocado devoured everything he could, including, finally, Perry himself.
Stop. Is that him?
Yeah.
It jacked one of his core values in life and completely flipped it upside down to where he could care less about that.
Those
Like,
videos pop.
You'll feel like, oh, this is what people want to see from me. No, it's
Exactly.
just what people see in general.
Yes. If I were to sit down with Ben Shapiro
Yeah.
and have an offline conversation, I bet you they'd be much more sensible than they are on camera. I think it's revved up.
Ruslan.
As a forewarning to content creators who start popping, this is what happens. And the concept is called audience capture. Okay, audience capture. This happens to a lot of influencers. It happens to a lot of Christian influencers. It happens to a lot of conservative influencers. This is the most egregious example of this that we're going to look at. But I think this is some of what happened here. I think if I were to sit down with Matt Walsh, if I were to sit down with Ben Shapiro,
Yeah.
and have an offline conversation, I bet you they'd be much more sensible than they are on camera. I think it's revved up.
Yeah, definitely.
I think Crowder revs up, right? Now, I'm not saying they don't really believe this stuff, but I think when everything is one binary, it's great marketing, but is that really who you are when no one is around? Is that really who you are at Thanksgiving dinner with your liberal family members? You know what I mean? Like, probably not. And so I think that's a bigger, like, systemic issue within this entire ecosystem of conservatives, media, whatever. And we see it in all niches, by the way. We see it in the red pill space a lot. We see it in the red pill space. I mean, like the men's improvement, men's rights, manosphere. We see it a lot. Like, so what happens is this concept called audience capture. So I want to play this for you guys. This is the most egregious example, but I think it's actually more applicable, especially those of you guys that are starting to pop. Like those of you guys that are starting to take off, man, be careful of this because this is everywhere. But first, hold on. Before we do this, I got to make sure you guys know about our free niche training. You want to know the main reason new creators fail on YouTube? They don't know who they're creating videos for, and they don't have any purpose behind their videos. This turns the whole process of shooting videos into a tedious chore that will eventually lead to burnout. Trust me when I tell you, I have been there. If you want to discover exactly what type of videos you should make that will increase your chances of success on YouTube and help you avoid burnout, sign up below for my free Master My Niche training. This training will walk you through a custom system that will help you get clarity on the niche of your channel and help you make videos that you should be creating. I'll see you over at mastermyniche.com.
In 2016, 24-year-old Nicholas Perry wanted to be big online. He started uploading videos to his YouTube channel in which he pursued his passion, playing the violin, and extolled the virtues of veganism. He went largely unnoticed. A year later, he abandoned veganism, citing health concerns. Now free to eat whatever he wanted, he began uploading mukbang videos of himself consuming various dishes while talking to the...
What is mukbang?
Mukbang is when people eat large quantities of food on camera. It's similar to ASMR.
Yeah, whoa.
Do you know what ASMR is?
I know what ASMR is.
Okay,
It's all like the noise stuff.
Yeah, where
what is the
people-
overlap?
So the overlap is like people find gratification in watching people eat. So like he's not giving he might be giving commentary, but mukbang is like an Asian term, and it started with like webcam women and men, but clothed, just eating large amounts of food and going, and they'll mukbang and like lick their fingers and like eat like dumplings, like not in an essential way, just in like a ASMR way. Disgusting.
Weird.
So gross.
Weird. Okay. So I've heard of it. I just didn't know what it was. Okay. I've heard of it. I just didn't know what it was. So here's this guy. He's a vegan violin player. He's a vegan violin player who all of a sudden stops being vegan and starts making these types of videos. And this is such a sad story.
Camera, as if having dinner with a friend. These new videos quickly found a sizable audience, but as the audience grew, so did their demands. The comment sections of the videos soon became filled with people challenging Perry to eat as much as he physically could. Eager to please, he began to set himself torturous eating challenges, each bigger than the last.
Ex-vegan eats burger for the first time in 10 years. That's a banging title right
That's a
there.
good title.
His audience applauded, but always demanded more. Soon, he was filming himself eating entire menus of fast food restaurants.
4 years before that video, In-N-Out Burger mukbang. He just straight up lied in the title.
In some respects, all his eating paid off. Nikocado Avocado, as Perry is now better known, has amassed over 6 million subscribers across 6 channels on YouTube. By satisfying the escalating demands of his audience, he got his wish of blowing up and being big online. But the cost was that he blew up and became big in ways he hadn't anticipated.
Let's pause. That's a funny. That's a funny bar. He wanted to blow up online, but instead he blew up in ways he hadn't anticipated, which is he put on 200 pounds.
He is a total of 352 pounds.
This is audience capture.
Wow, that's so dark. Look at his posture and everything.
Yeah, keep going. It gets worse.
Nikocado, moulded by his audience's desires into a cartoonish extreme, is now a wholly different character from Nicholas Perry.
Pause it.
Stop. Is that him?
Yeah. He molded his persona into a cartoonish extreme. Okay? Look at that. He molded his persona into a cartoonish extreme. What happens in a lot of creators is they create cartoon caricatures of themselves. Right? So someone that's like impressionable and trying to get popping will play into the audience capture.
Wow.
And again, I'm saying we see this across all the niches. By the way, some of you guys don't know this, the guys that watch on my main channel, this is why I poke my audience. I intentionally do this. I intentionally push and poke and make it so like you're not just blindly going to follow everything I'm saying, and I'm not just going to make videos to keep you in a freaking echo chamber. I intentionally do this all the time. I'll have on people of different denominations. I'll talk about people's favorite celebrity pastors, right? I'll do these things on purpose because I refuse to slide into audience capture and just make the video that works over and over and over again. Because this is like where it can take you.
But the juxtaposition of like at one point he ate purely based off of what he felt like was best for him, and he has the audience capture was so extreme that he left that viewpoint enough to not just care about what he ate, but balloon up to 350, need the breathing mask, like it's like literally it jacked one of his core values in life and completely flipped it upside down to where he could care less about that. Whew. And honestly, if you're gonna look at this, this is like a weird metaphor for how net positive content works in the algorithm as well. Like he was doing vegan, he was trying to be healthy, and no one really cared. Mind you, his videos were probably trash. But like he blooms up here, he's red in the face, his skin's horrible, he's 350 pounds, he's got a breathing mask on, all for like this lifestyle.
And Zach said something really interesting. He said net positive content in the algorithm. Consider what you're subscribing to and what you're watching, and ask yourself the question: is it just outrage porn? Is it just stuff to help you feel more outraged on the out group that you're not a part of? The libs, women, non-Christians, people of other religions, right? The left, whoever. If it's just outrage porn, to me, that is not net positive content.
Well, and especially as like we're especially talking to creators on the Master YouTube Live channel is like it's going to be easy when you touch the algorithm to recreate. And there's times where you're going to create a not so net positive video,
right?
And it's going to be
and those are necessary sometimes.
They're necessary.
It's necessary to call out loony leftist ideology sometimes. It's important to call out false religion. It's important to call out certain things sometimes. But if all of your content is they're stupid, they're dumb, they hate you, therefore watch me and let me keep my audience in an echo chamber of just reinforcement, be weary of that. It's a great business model
because those videos are going to pop.
Those videos pop.
You'll feel like, oh, this is what people want to see from me. No, it's just what people see in general. But you're in charge of being creative enough to think of ideas outside of the box that are going to be net positive, but also feel like they have enough controversy for people to click in. And that's the juxtaposition. That's why sitting in front of a camera and talking to a computer is a little bit difficult.
Yes, absolutely. Let's keep going.
Vegan violinist who first started making videos. Where Perry was mild-mannered and health-conscious, Nikocado is loud, abrasive, and spectacularly grotesque. Where Perry was a picky eater, Nikocado devoured everything he could, including, finally, Perry himself. The rampant appetite for attention caused the person to be subsumed by the persona. We often talk of captive audiences, regarding the performer as hypnotizing the viewers. But just as often, it's the viewers hypnotizing the performer.
Wow.
That's a bar.
This disease, of which Perry is but one victim of many, is known as audience capture, and it is essential to understanding influencers in particular and the online ecosystem in general.
Yep.
Audience capture is an irresistible force in the world of influencing, because it's not just a conscious process but also an unconscious one. While it may ostensibly appear to be a simple case of influencers making a business decision to create more of the content they believe audiences want, and then being incentivized by engagement.
Thinks this twerk.
Science, math, twerk, and then what's the other one?
I can't see it.
History.
History,
Members to remain in this niche forever. It's actually deeper than that. It involves the gradual and unwitting replacement of a person's identity with one custom made for the audience.
Sheesh.
The art is crazy too.
Yeah.
To understand how, we must consider how people come to define themselves. A person's identity is being constantly refined, so it needs constant feedback. That feedback typically comes from other people, not so much by what they say they see as by what we think they see. We develop our personalities by imagining ourselves through others' eyes, using their borrowed gazes like mirrors to dress ourselves. Just as lacking a mirror to dress ourselves leaves us dishevelled, so lacking other people's eyes to refine our personalities leaves us uncouth. This is why those raised in isolation become feral humans, adopting the character of beasts. Put simply, in order to be someone, we need someone to be someone for. Our personalities develop as a role we perform for other people, fulfilling the expectations we think they have of us. The American sociologist Charles Cooley dubbed this phenomenon the looking glass self. Evidence for it is diverse, and includes the everyday experience of seeing ourselves through imagined eyes in social situations, otherwise known as the spotlight effect. The tendency for people to alter their behaviour when in the presence of pictures of eyes, otherwise known as the watching eye effect, and the tendency for people in virtual spaces to adopt the traits of their avatars in an attempt to fulfill expectations, otherwise known as the Proteus effect.
Look at that picture. The Hulk and the skinny dudes.
Yep.
When we lived in small, tight-knit communities, the looking glass self helped us to become the people our loved ones wanted us to be. The problem is, we no longer live solely among those we know well. We can only gauge who they are by what some of them post online. And what people post online is not indicative of who they really are. As such, the people we're increasingly becoming someone for are an abstract illusion. When influencers are analysing audience feedback, they often find that their more outlandish behaviour receives the most attention and approval, which leads them to recalibrate their personalities according to far more extreme social cues than those they'd receive in real life. In doing this, they exaggerate the more idiosyncratic facets of their personalities, becoming crude caricatures of themselves. The caricature quickly becomes the influencer's distinct brand, and all subsequent attempts by the influencer to remain on brand and fulfill audience expectations require them to act like the caricature. As the caricature becomes more familiar than the person, both to the audience and to the influencer, it comes to be regarded by both as the only honest expression of the influencer, so that any deviation from it soon looks and feels inauthentic. At that point, the persona has eclipsed the person, and the audience has captured the influencer.
Sheesh!
The old Greek legends tell of Narcissus, a youth so handsome he became besotted by his own reflection. Unable to look away from his image in the surface of the waters, he fell still forever, and was transformed by the gods into a flower. Similarly, as influencers glimpse their idealized online personas reflected back at them on screens, they too are in danger of becoming eternally besotted by how they appear, and in so doing, forgetting who they were, or could be. This is the ultimate trapdoor in the Hall of Fame, to become a prisoner of one's own persona. The desire for recognition in an increasingly atomized world lures us to be who strangers wish us to be. And with personal development so arduous and lonely, there is ease and comfort in crowdsourcing your identity. But amid such temptations, it's worth remembering that when you become who your audience expects at the expense of who you are, The affection you receive is not intended for you, but for the character you're playing.
Sheesh.
A character you'll eventually tire of. And so, be warned. Being someone often means being fake. And if you chase the approval of others, you may, in the end, lose the approval of yourself.
All right, you don't need a Tupac quote to sum that up. Play the game, never let the game play you. Yeah, that's a good breakdown of, I think, something that a lot of creators struggle with, especially once they get a little pop. I think we see this in again, conservative spaces, discernment ministries, red pill ideology, far left content, super woke content, whatever you want to call it. It kind of becomes a echo chamber of reinforcing the same things over and over again and losing who you actually are and some of the intricacies and nuance that people have. So I think it's okay to push back against your audience, to disagree with your audience, to challenge your audience. It's a slower burn for sure, but I think it's a healthier one. Hey, check this out. You want to know the main reason new creators fail on YouTube? They don't know who they're creating videos for, and they don't have any purpose behind their videos. This turns the whole process of shooting videos into a tedious chore that will eventually lead to burnout. And trust me when I tell you, I have been there. If you want to discover exactly what type of videos you should make that will increase your chances of success on YouTube and help you avoid burnout, sign up below for my free Master My Niche training. This training will walk you through a custom system that will help you get clarity on the niche of your channel and help you make videos that you should be creating. I'll see you over at mastermyniche.com.